What's up, Group Coach Nation? Oh my gosh, good to see everybody. Good to talk to everybody. Great to answer your questions. So, why did I choose group coaching and masterminding over one-on-one or done-for-you services? That's a question that comes up a ton when I'm speaking on platforms, podcast stages, whatever. Like that's a really common panel discussion or stack in a set of questions on a podcast. I think it's important to talk this out. It is not because we created a brand called Group Coach Nation and a logo and we're like, oh my gosh, we got to support this thing. That's a good reason. But no, that's not the reason. Here's why. And it's pretty straightforward. It's just painful. It's reality. I'm sure many of you have gone through the same thing. I was like trying to figure out how to sell and market my information. That's it. I mean, right? A lot of us are trying to do that. We've tried to figure out what is the pathway to take our expertise, our knowledge, whatever it is that we like, oh my gosh, I got this figured out, and actually profit not just on the doing of the work or helping someone with one-on-one or consulting or coaching, but actually like explaining how did we actually get where we are and doing that at scale. That's a really important thing, right? That's like a really big deal. So here's where I was running a done-for-you marketing agency. We still own this agency. We work with surgeons in subspecialties. And we bring them patients, cash pay surgical procedures, okay? I had figured out a lot of things about systems, people, and processes. That's kind of the way my brain works. And so people kept leaning in saying, hey, Chris, how have you gone from where I used to be like working 12, 14-hour days down to, a couple hours a week? Here's the way it worked. I read The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. That changed so much for me. And it taught me how to work a lot less and be a lot more efficient. 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. Totally think you should go read that book. Most of us have it on our shelf. Most of us read it like once and been like, I don't know if that's for real. No, it's for real. I literally just outlined the book, did what it said to do. Now, here's the thing. That took me from working 14-hour days. We got 5 kids. We want to spend more time with them. We want to take some long vacations. Like we wanted to do the things, right? Down to working 4-hour days in just 4 months. And our income went up while we were doing it. I was working less, making more, and I wasn't trying to make more. I was just trying to get my life back in order. And then about 4 to 6 months later, I had it down to just a couple of hours a week because I was putting in place really good systems and teams. Okay, that's where I was coming from. So all of a sudden I realized people kept asking me, Chris, not like, how do you run your agency or how do you help people marketing or whatever? It was more about, Chris, how did you get your life back as a business owner and work a lot less while you're making more, getting free time? Well, I tried to sell e-courses, books, 3-part video series, the whole thing about how I was doing that, right? I mean, Tim Ferriss did it for our work week. Why couldn't I do it? Didn't work. Just flat out didn't work. And I had like a team around me and some resources. So we spent, easily over 100 grand in ads. And I'm sure that much in funnel build outs and staffing time and all that over the course of like 5 years, literally 5 years trying to crack this code. Man, rough time. Rough time, not because it was like taking money away from our house note, so to speak. Rough time because it was just like the worst, most expensive, heartbreaking hobby ever. So I had some friends who were doing really well at this e-course and e-book selling thing. And they were in a ClickFunnels community. They were in a mastermind. And I was like, oh my gosh, guys, like y'all got to help me figure this out. What am I doing wrong? They're like, you need to join the mastermind we're in. So I did. 50 people in this mastermind. And I was there for 45 minutes live at this mastermind for a weekend. And I was explaining to them what I explained to you. And they're like, Chris, like the whole group was like, Chris, this is amazing. We all want to work a lot less too. How do you do this? And I just simply told them what I told you. And they're like, how's the mastermind? What's up, Jody? So good to see you. Badass Marketing Moms, Jody. Y'all reach out to her if you want all things marketing. She's freaking genius at it. Life and scale. Yeah. Living and the life. I know, right, Jody? Okay. So here's the deal. We got to a place where I was in that mastermind and they're like, Chris, how's the mastermind? I thought they were referring to the mastermind I was like sitting in right there with them, but they weren't. They were like actually asking me, no, Chris, how's your mastermind? It's like, guys, I don't have a mastermind. I'm trying to sell e-courses. I'm building the value ladder. I'm copying all of your funnels and websites and VSLs and webinars. Like I'm trying to do it all and it's not working. And they're like, oh no, dude, you got to start with the mastermind. Start with like a high ticket, small group, 10, 15 people, take them through your process, teach them how to do what you do. Like, okay, 2 things happened there. One, I was like, oh my gosh, why didn't I know that 5 years ago and a couple $100,000 ago? The second thing I thought was like, I didn't want to believe it. Here's why. Not because it wasn't like an obvious, no way I can skip the value ladder, but because I'd put my heart and soul into 5 years of launches. And I honestly was just burnout, just burnout. I went to dinner with a couple of them that night and then breakfast with a couple of them the next morning. And they're like helping me walk through, like getting my brain around this whole thing. And it took me a while, but 2 weeks after that time where we were together, I reached out to them and said, "Hey guys, I need help. Like I'm in, got to take a little vacation, had a little break. Let's try to build a mastermind." And so 3 of them actually helped me build our first mastermind. 7 weeks later, I had a mastermind with 10 people in it. Like, wow, it actually worked. All of a sudden, I sold 10 seats in a mastermind selling my information, which back then was how to run a digital marketing agency very effectively. That was our first go at it. And we ran that for several years. That mastermind, like the first one, changed so much for me in my mindset because I realized a couple things. One, it can work. You can actually sell your expertise. Two, I made more money in the first, second, and third rounds of that mastermind within 6 months than I'd ever spent on all the stuff we tried for 5 years. And then honestly, than I ever hoped I'd make in just the e-courses in the course of a year. In 6 months, we paid everything back. Plus, we'd made more than I thought I ever would in 1 year because high ticket masterminds are very easy to launch and they're highly profitable. And the third thing is, I'd been through a ton of e-courses. I'm sure you have as well. I honestly, sometimes I just don't get the results out of e-courses, not because the person recording them, the host is not good at it. It's just not enough personal interaction, I guess. You kind of feel like you're getting lost in the weeds. Even if it's like something with like a big bunch of e-courses and some access to a live Facebook group, it's hard to make it your own. That's what I struggled with anyway. So all of a sudden, when I was leading a mastermind and in a mastermind for the first time as a student and a leader, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm changing faster being in this other person's mastermind, real access to real people, real community. And the people that I was putting in my mastermind, they were actually getting real results like now. It wasn't like, oh, I hope they do the work. It was like, no, they were like right there with us. We were doing the work together. It was happening. That changed so much for me. So 7 weeks later, I had my own first mastermind. And all of a sudden, I confirmed a couple of things. And now I'm gonna leave it at this because I think this is like if there's a big takeaway here, it's this: get paid for what you build. Number one, get paid for delivering, get paid for your expertise. Don't go build an e-course or all this stuff, funnels, copy, scripts, email sequences, all that stuff in a vacuum. Get paid and sell seats in a mastermind or group coaching program first. Skip the value ladder, go straight to the top, just compress that thing down and get paid. Sell 5, 10 people to be in a mastermind with you. Okay. Don't beta launch it. Don't go all low ticket. Sell it for what it's worth. You're going to change their lives. The first one's the best one. They're going to get more of your time than ever. Okay. Get paid for what you build. When you do that, a couple things are going to happen. You're going to confirm who your market is because the credit card is what proves your market. You're going to confirm the sales process, what their real pain points are. We call it dreams, drains, and doubts in our world, but it's pain points and solutions, all that kind of stuff. You're going to confirm what their real pain points are, what's really keeping them down emotionally and externally. Third, and this is so important, that like, oh my gosh, I know who my market is. I know they will buy. I know their pain points in marketing. All of a sudden, you've gotten paid to do the research and to document everything you need for every email sequence, every landing page, every e-course, everything ever. When you start building the curriculum and going through it with them in a mastermind format, you can record all that. You can turn it into an e-course. Like it all starts happening and you got paid to do it. Because all that matters when you're taking your big idea to market is that you actually get paid. And I don't mean all that matters doesn't include helping someone else and changing their life and being a good deliverer and giving them real quality. I get that. That's all real. You have to do that, right? Or else you won't get paid for long. But if you have the best thing ever and you're convinced it's the best thing ever, like I was the first 5 years, I struggled with e-courses and ebooks and all the low ticket stuff. What I had not done was really prove, like right up there at the beginning, here's what a collection of people will actually buy from me and pay me to teach them. Let me say that again. What is a small group of people going to actually pay you to teach them? And I don't mean pay you $47 a month for 12 months. That is not a mastermind, my friends. That is an e-course that's underpriced that you're delivering live. Please don't do that. You deserve more and your clients deserve more. You won't be sustainable. You won't be able to last. Charge real money. I'm going to draw a line in the sand here. Charge something above 5K. If you're showing up live for something, it needs to be above $5,000. And it does not have to be for a whole year. The results they want are, I want the result now, and can you make it as simple as possible? Once you confirm all of that with real people joining your group, it just takes 5 or 10 people, then you know you got something and you got something right. That is so critically important. So all of a sudden, I went from this place where I was like, okay, I have an expertise. I want to share that with the world. I was failing a ton, like I said, for 5 years at ebooks, courses, all the low ticket stuff. And then all of a sudden, like with this new, like, thankfully, a direction that people who'd been there before me gave me, like, no, Chris, you don't start with all the low ticket stuff. You start with high ticket mastermind, get paid to build. Everything else gets sorted, like I just explained to you. Once that happened, 7 weeks later, again, after I called them back, I had a mastermind. Oh my gosh. And then we did it again and again and again. That is why. That's the answer to this question. That is why I chose group coaching and masterminds versus one-on-one and done for you. I used to do one-on-one and done for you. And then when I wanted to start selling my information at a scalable level, I went through the pain that most of you have gone through and might still be in of, oh no, I've launched something again and it didn't sell, or it didn't sell well. I couldn't get the pricing up. I couldn't get enough people to convert, whatever. I went straight to high ticket groups, masterminds, if you want to call them that. There's a difference, but not for this conversation. It's not worth it. Pay the dues. Like, you got to jump in there and you got to get paid. And then you got to pay, in a way, that group of 5, 10, 15 people back by delivering your best, your excellence in a group format. Do the work. Do the work. I promise you, you can profit off of your knowledge and your expertise. I have. But I didn't do this because we have a brand name called Group Coach Nation. That came later. It came later. Like, people kept asking us to teach us how to build group coaching and mastermind programs. So we just started doing that exclusively. That's what we do now. That's why the brand name is there. Yeah, what's up? Oh, what's up, dude? So hey, Chris Williams, OMG. You just set up a bomb in my brain. Thanks, brother. You bet. Oh my gosh. So glad to hear that. That's really, really fun. From LinkedIn, great stuff, Chris. Thanks for these sessions. You bet. Happy to help. This is the stuff we do, right? Each of you know, like, exactly where your expertise is. If you don't, like, lean in, ask questions. We'll point you in the right direction. We have videos that can help you sort that out. You have an expertise. I'm thrilled to be able to share this right here, because this is the path I went down to get where I am today. And this is the service we offer. I would love to help you guys figure this out. That's the service we offer. You do the same thing. Get out there, tell your story, because what you've accomplished is worthy of people's attention. And you can offer your services and build your first group, your mastermind, and get 10 clients in and be rocking it. 10 clients that take up 1 or 2 hours of your normal client slots per week. You're getting literally a 5 to 10x return on your time, and your clients are getting more transformation than ever because groups are better than ever. I'll explain more that another day. I got to go. You guys are awesome. Do the work, get the results. Again, I'm Chris Williams here at Group Coach Nation. You can go to groupcoachnation.com and see a lot more, but always do the work to get the results. We say that a lot here. The important thing is that you just do the right work, because the wrong work will wear you out. We've all been down that path. Don't do the wrong work. Do the right work to get the results. All right, get out there, knock it out. Y'all are the best. Share your expertise with the world.